Thank you for everything. Thank you all for being here. You're the reason why I love this town so much. Think about a time when you've truly made someone glow, that you shared some sort of spark in you with them. Maybe it was a smile that simply changed the outlook on their day. It could have been a fleeting moment, but it had a lasting impact. And whether you're on the receiving or the giving end of that feeling, you know that it's genuine and powerful and good. I had an experience like this. I was filming and editing a documentary about content-rich work in public high school. It was about teenagers expressing their stories through art. And at the other end of my camera, I had a young man who was attempting to explain the core concepts behind his artwork. It was about God's hand in nature. And I could tell he wasn't completely comfortable with talking to me about it. He might have been expecting criticism, or at best, dismissal of his idea. But when I failed to put up barriers and I said, "Wow, that's so cool. Now, why did you choose to depict the hand of God as a grove of trees?" He lit up. I made him the authority on his piece, and he went in to delve deeper into the meaning of his artwork. The trigger was a simple human interaction. I validated him, and in turn, he made for a better interview for my film. It was a simple, positive feedback loop. But why does this positive give and take have to be the exception, not the norm? This kid clearly feared my judgment more than that of the wrath of God that he was painting. But when I validated him, he dove right in. The water was fine. While you may not recall validating anyone recently, you have been leisurely sipping on the feeling for yourself every single day. We are all being spoon-fed the feeling of validation through our new media, and we're hooked because we can satisfy our craving for it digitally in the digital realm 24/7. When I first had this epiphany, I used those powers for evil. It was 2007, and I had created a Facebook app with the intention of satisfying the behavioral needs of the people who were using Facebook. And at the time, all of my teenage friends, including myself, were at vulnerable points in our lives, and we were all on Facebook to give the impression that we were popular. It was the driving impetus behind the photos and the friending and the tagging. So I created an app called Club One. It was a group that only accepted the smartest, wealthiest, most powerful individuals on Facebook. A group where the elite could connect privately and publicly display a badge of membership on their profile page. It was fascinating. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy than there was to find on Club One. And every morning, it was a social experiment, and I crawled out of my dorm bed every morning to see how the app was doing. And the metrics on the app had nearly doubled in use for weeks. And I knew I was onto something. I had tapped into the behavioral motivations of people on Facebook. They were exercising, a lot of them were there to project the most ideal image of themselves. So naturally, I attracted the biggest narcissists and egomaniacs there were to find on Facebook. And ultimately, the project failed because there wasn't much to do once you joined the club. And I was slightly embarrassed to be the poster boy behind the thing, so I shut it down. But what I learned about social design was priceless. People have a need and a desire to feel respected and loved and important. And what's interesting is they're starting to expect that feeling from their digital experiences, even if in subtle ways. The best apps are those that capitalize on that behavioral nuance, that cater to a behavior so ingrained in you that you may not even be aware that it exists. Have you ever stepped back and asked yourself, why am I doing this? Why am I taking a picture of my bowl of Cheerios? Why am I applying a vintage filter to my cereal with the expectation that dozens of my friends are going to see it? It's very, very simple. That app, whether it was Twitter or Instagram, has tapped into one of your deepest motivations. However you slice it, if it was your motivation to be an authority, a friend, or a photographer, it's your desire to be validated. Validation is, of course, that warm feeling we get when we know we belong. Some people have a higher threshold for validation, where they can only feel validated when they feel better than others. That's the Club 1 type. Still, there are others who feel validated just by doing what their peers are doing. But no matter the means, we all love validation. We love it like we love Starbucks. And since the mid-2000s, we haven't come up for air. Now, I'm not the first to build apps that are designed to validate people. Nearly all of our favorite apps have validation design in common. What am I talking about? The Facebook like. We all crave it. The Twitter retweet. LinkedIn endorsements. And Instagram favorites. There's validation in there for yuppies, for hipsters, for photo junkies, and it's digital cocaine because it's all designed to validate what we do and who we are. Now, there's a reason Facebook hasn't added a dislike button to their platform. It's because it goes against that mission to validate you. This is a game changer on what we expect our media to do for us emotionally. Now, whether we realize it or not, we can choose exactly how we want to feel. Do you want to feel adventurous? Do you want to feel playful? There are apps for that. And developers are building apps in tune to those specific behaviors. ComScore released its 2013 report, Mobile Future in Focus report recently, and it revealed the trend that consumers are increasingly gravitating toward task-specific apps. So for example, if you're going to check your Gmail on your phone, you're not going to go to a generic Google app. You're going to go to your Gmail app. And now Facebook has an app just for the messaging component and just for poking. People want what they want faster than ever, and developers are giving it to them. But as designers, we can take that a step further. We can find the prevailing reason behind these behaviors and cater directly to those reasons. Let me give you an example of an app that offers nothing original or unique in its core functionality, but is wildly successful because its designers have found a way to validate its users. It's Foursquare. Now, if any of you have ever used Foursquare, you know it's not the only app out there that you can check into places with. But it's different because you can earn badges depending on where you check in. You can display achievements and show other people on that app and on Facebook that you are a well-traveled individual. Suddenly, when you add that validation element, boom, you get a land grab of people trying to claim mayorship over different locations, or registering their apartment just to claim mayorship of something. Validation design is what made Foursquare successful. It is that secret sauce that separates alpha apps from beta apps. And while I vigorously encourage you to research how audiences seek to be validated, I want to acknowledge that there is no substitute for face-to-face human interaction. For 2 millennia, the human race has tried to capture emotion. We've tried to engrave it, to sculpt it, to record it, to print it, to text it, to tweet it. And now some of us are attempting to mine it and measure it and extract meaning from millions of faceless interactions daily. But the true power of validation exists off the screen and off the canvas. Validation design is not limited to apps. We can design our daily personal interactions to validate the people around us. I enjoy thinking back to the day when I assured the young man in the documentary about his artwork. By asking him questions of genuine interest, I made him the authority on his piece. Where he was used to being evaluated, he was suddenly validated, and that's all he needed. I was personally touched by how his shyness melted away and how his personality shone through. So tomorrow, when you wake up, rethink how you can mobilize the people around you. Design your daily personal interactions to sincerely validate others, and people will respond. They may not reciprocate instantly, they can't give you an additional like, they may not make you seem more popular, but they will remember your words and respond when nobody is keeping score. And those are the feedback loops that impact us most. If we can design our daily interactions to validate the people around us in the same way the foremost apps are designed to validate us, we stand a chance at creating the most authentic social network yet, a network where all of us can be validated.